And isn't he unique? And isn't he talented? And the pieces that he put together, this last one on Engin, wonderful piece, beautifully animated, storytelling. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Loved him.
Very diligent.
Awesome.
Very timeless. Like, I feel like they're excellent pieces of work. Yeah.
I think he's really trying his best to put over a very balanced portrayal. Keep doing what you're doing, historian. I'm a fan, mate. Love what you do. Absolutely awesome.
Me and Dave Chaffee, let's go. The clear reality is Dave's going to wipe me, but I might actually win this poll. You never know.
Yeah, that's true. That's you also got voted in, right? With all these people. So
exactly. The fact that I'm in the tournament, peak Dave Chaffee has pins on just about everyone. There was an era in American arm wrestling where he was untouchable. It was easy money Dave Chaffee because he would just win everything. But at the moment, he's in trouble against me. That's all I could. Let's see. Oh, look at that. I'm winning the poll already. This is ridiculous. Yeah, running away with it. Dave was never known for his endurance at the end of the day, was he?
I wish I had a Bart Wood here to tell the chat that they're making a mock. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Welcome to the Arm Historian Live. How are you all doing out there in the arm wrestling world? See who's in chat. Muscle Bike, how you doing, man? Hope you're well. TOS Move, what's up? Craig H, what's up, man? Chuck in the house. Hey, Chuck, hope you're doing well. Sorry, I haven't spent a lot of time working on the iceberg video lately. Craig H has just finished practice for today. Great timing. Indeed. I'm happy you could join us, Craig. Hope the practice was a good one. Do you do table time? Only table time? Indeed, we're live. Mr. Peanut, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Top Troll King, what's up? Says Mindaugas is the GOAT. Yeah, indeed, Mindaugas did really well. Did really well. Kingswood Social Club in the house, what's up, man? Good to see you. How's your channel going? I haven't been able to check up on it, but I really should. Kingswood Social Club. Table times on Sundays for Craig, that's awesome. Mine is usually on Saturday, although sometimes we try to squeeze one in on Thursday too. But yeah, that depends on how our arms are feeling and stuff. So yeah, what's on the docket for today? We're gonna talk about the event, of course. We're gonna go over the results of the matches. And yeah, that'll be about it. We'll talk about the event in general. If there's any other topics you want to talk about, things that happened during the last week or a little further back, feel free to bring them up and we can talk about them too. But yeah, our main focus of today will be East versus West 17. Take a look at the results and what it means for the arm wrestling rankings. Arm wrestling fan, how you doing, man? Says, how do you like the event? I thought there were a lot of very good things that I enjoyed. My overall impression is positive. I did, for the first time ever, stream during the entire event. I streamed for like 4.5 hours or something crazy like that. First time ever going that long. So that kind of changed my experience. I had a lot of people to talk to while I was watching the event this time. Usually I just watch it with a couple of friends, but yeah, this time I had one in real life friend with me and then you guys with me too. Quite a big chat. Talking about that one in real life friend that was with me, Verbeer, how you doing? Good to see you. And for the first time ever, I had to time someone out. Never had to do something like that before. Never had to ban anyone before in chat. But yeah, first time ever time someone out. Matt Mask is... Man, he was something else during the event, wasn't he? He looked really good. Felt kind of bad for Ongarbaev because I feel like quite possibly he was not feeling the 100% yet. I don't know. It's kind of the impression I got. Gian, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Potro King says, hey, by any chance, does anybody know what matches Baxter announced yesterday? I'm literally going blank when he speaks. Yeah, I was too busy talking with chat while Baxter was speaking, so I didn't have a chance to hear what he actually said. But yeah, I did see a lot of people comment on it, saying like it drained kind of all the energy out of the event, kind of the momentum they had going. Kingsmove Social Club says, oh yeah, the Bible thumper. Yeah, there was one person yesterday that I don't mind. People can talk about a lot of things in my chat, and it takes a lot to get me to actually ban you, but if you're starting to talk about how we're all gonna burn in hell in all caps and weird stuff like that, and you keep spamming it, and yeah, I think that deserves a timeout. I didn't even ban the person. I think they can interact again. He just got a timeout. Yeah, I love Matt, really. Rax FF says, who's next for Kanai? Good question, man. Really good question. I don't know. I think you can set him with a lot of people. Yeah. Maybe Matt Mask? That'd be a match? I don't know. Vitali versus MMT. Yeah. Indeed. That's one of the announced matches, right? It's gonna be a good one, for sure. Yeah, might be difficult for Vitali. More difficult than a lot of people would think initially. Let's take a look at the matches. The battleground from yesterday, from my marathon stream. Maybe I'll take these and I'll just go here with you guys. Hang on, here. Yeah. There we go. That's better, I feel like. Yes, way better. Godzilla versus Rustam for the title, and Paul Lin versus Samusha for the title. Interesting, okay. Damn. Paul Lin versus Samusha. You think Samusha would have that, right? I love Paul Lin, truly I do. But you would think Samusha would have that. Like if the match drags on for any amount of time, I could see Paul definitely gassing out versus Samusha. Then again, Paul might have reached a new level by now. Top Troking says Baxter is a vampire. It's funny because he does kind of talk like a vampire, right? I don't mean the accent, but kind of soft-spoken and I don't know, hard to describe. Kingsmood Social Club says, yeah, he went all scorched earth on us at one point, yeah. They really did. Kanai versus Irakli, yeah, that wouldn't be bad. I like that one too, for sure. Zooming to reality says Corey is evidence that Levon is truly special because Corey constantly losing against smaller guys. Yeah, I think it's clear by now to most people that watch arm wrestling that size isn't everything. There's weight classes for a reason, right? But at a certain point, you'd have to expect diminishing returns on your size. You can't walk around at 180 kilograms and have it all be functional weight, right? Muscleback says, Jesus is watching us, Arm Historian. He saw what you did to the angelic Christian. Apparently, I had to miss the live. Yeah, that's too bad you weren't there, Muscleback, but it's all good. You missed a really, like, out of the ordinary live stream for me. A lot of people that I had never seen before, so that's always nice. But yeah, a bunch of the regulars dropped into throughout the live stream, so I do appreciate it. Top Troll King says, and it looks like Devon matches with Vitaly in August. His fever ketamine dream. Yeah. Might never happen. Paul gonna get a nice cut, I bet. Yeah. Baxter talks in slow motion. Yeah, it does kind of seem sometimes like he's very... I don't want to say low energy necessarily, but just very laid back, I guess, is the right way of putting it. So yeah, let's start. I'm gonna do these matches in the order that I think I remember them happening, but I might be off at some point, so yeah, forgive me. I think this was the first match, Andrei Sharkevich versus Arsen Khachatryan. Trying not to butcher that last name. Yeah, also, I'm gonna do the scores off memory. I think I've got most of them remembered, although I might be off on a couple of them, so correct me if I'm wrong there. I'm sure chat will correct me. This one, I believe Arsen won over Andrei. I was still busy kind of setting up the live stream to a degree, so I didn't pay that much attention, but I think 3-0, right? Or am I misremembering? I think it was pretty one-sided. If I'm 3-1, okay, yeah, there you go. I thought 3-0 or 3-1 seemed pretty one-sided. Verbeer says, careful with religion, people have been timed out doing that. You can talk about religion, man, in in the chat, just as long... Like, my one rule that I usually implement, and I think it speaks for itself what I mean with it, is stay civil. You can have a totally different opinion than myself, and even be kind of out there in your opinion. But as long as you act like a normal person in chat, you know what I mean? Don't start spamming or don't start like getting personal with people, then it's all good. Kings Blue Social Club says, I felt Devon was actually bigger than Corey that match. Devon did look massive, man. It did look really massive. How is Corey evidence? He trains way less than Levon and is shaped way different, yeah. I agree. Short hands and arms. Yeah, he does have a different frame than Levon. There's one thing, that weight doesn't mean everything, is I guess the one thing you could glean from that, from comparing the two. So yeah, this match, not a lot else to say about it. Apart from that, Arsen looked really good. Yeah, not a bad match to start the night with, honestly. Let's see. I don't think these were next. I think the next match, honestly, was this one. Cody Wood versus Joseph Meranto. Okay, so the way I remember this match is Cody Woods came out of the gates really strong with 2 pins on Meranto, but the Meranto took it back and ended up winning 3-2. I think that's what happens. Yeah, indeed. Who forgot to hit like? Identify yourself. Show yourself. Corey's 300 pounds plus. Stop talking. Greg HS, not easy to make fat functional. Extra weight can only do so much. I agree. After a while, it starts to impede a lot of things, I think. Apart from just your general health, it also kind of decreases your mobility when you're at the table, in my opinion. Pakwoji says, dives into hook before the go, false starts, and gets away with it. Arm Wrestling Fans is big fan of Meranto now. Yeah. The guy composed himself and got through it in the end. Top Throw King says, okay, serious question. Where did Ozempic shot that Devon gifted to Corey go? Right answer to Gennady, so he would be able to cut down to 115. Did Devon give an Ozempic shot to Corey? Jesus. So yeah, I ended up really liking this match. I went into it not knowing a lot about both guys, but kind of coming out with a great deal of respect for both of them because they both kind of died on their sword, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely not a bad match. I thought pretty good start to the event. Also, like, some of the shots in the earlier matches were just really great, in my opinion. You had like this kind of fluorescent background that was all red, and then the silhouettes of the arm wrestling table and one or both of the athletes against the red backdrop, just their silhouettes in like all black, was really nice to look at, I thought. Was something different, but then they didn't end up using the same shot multiple times after that, so yeah, but it did look really nice. Corey sold it to a Karen. Okuji says Joseph is cold. Yeah, I get what you mean, and he's very composed. Hey Dan John, how you doing, man? Welcome, good to see you. Production is getting better slowly, says King Smooth Social Club. Yeah. There's a couple of funny things about like the arena they chose. It was an esports arena. Here we go. Here's our resident troll. There's a mod in chat. You can ban them now. I'm good with banning them now. And otherwise, I'll do it. Thanks. Appreciate it, Musclebike. Arm Wrestling fans says, I had trouble seeing the grip and the scorecards was over their faces this time. Yeah, there's a couple of things they can definitely iron out. There was also, I think, and they kind of solved it, but maybe not in the right way. In the first couple of matches, the volume of the athletes was turned way up to about the same level as the volume of the commentators, which means that sometimes you'd get this garbled mess of athletes talking over commentators and vice versa, and you couldn't make either of them out what they were saying. And then they later on, I think they quote-unquote fixed it by muting the athletes' audio. It's good that they did something about it, for sure. It's way better after that. But yeah, I think maybe commentators should just try to shut up when athletes are speaking or something like that. I don't know. It's difficult. I don't know if they're like fully aware of what they're saying at all times. King's Move Social Club says, I missed that match. I was still working. That's so bad, man. It's a really good one, and I think it's worth going back to check it out for sure. Hell is in Norway, says Arm Wrestling fan. Thanks, Musclebike. I do appreciate it, man. Arm Wrestling fan says, no, please, he's my friend. Of course. It's one of Arm Wrestling fan strays that he direct in here. The Lord exacted some divine intervention. He is our Lord and Savior, Musclebike. O'Shea says, Amen, Supreme Arm, you are right. Trust Jesus as your Savior today. Don't wait. Call him to forgive, etc., etc. Okay. Robert says, there he was again, indeed. Greg H says, it's nice to see some profits going towards improvement. Yeah, I agree. It's good that they're putting back into the event. The fact that it was an esports arena was pretty funny. It looked kind of like a set out of an 80s sci-fi movie or something like that. Kind of Tronny at points. But yeah, I thought it was cool. I liked it. They also ended up using gamer chairs for some of the athletes, so no clue why. At a certain point, they just rolled out a couple of gamer chairs for them to rest in between rounds. Maybe to go with the theme, I don't know. Okay, next match. What was the next match? Was it this one? I think it was, right? Hunter Noffz versus Valen Low. Even if it wasn't, I'll just talk about this one right now. Hunter Noffz, strong, good arm wrestler. Valen Low, a lot of people had no idea about. This match ended up going 3-2, I think, in favor of Hunter Noffz, and it was a pretty close one. I think Hunter Noffz ended up falling out a bunch of times too, which contributed to the match being close. But yeah, Valen definitely showed that he belongs there, right? I think he's at a very close level to, very close to the same level as Hunter Noffz here. So I think if you count Hunter Noffz as a potential up and comer in this weight category, in the 77 kilograms, you should count Valen Low as one too. Kingsmooth Social Club says, if MMT ain't praying to it, I ain't praying to it. That makes sense. Nothing woke about Jesus. He's the most anti-wolf thing you can talk about. Okay, interesting. If you can loop it back to arm wrestling would be great, but of course you're free to talk about it. Chuck managed to watch the whole event, was nice, but no mic on athletes really disturbed the feeling. Yeah, like I said, there were mics on athletes before, but kind of ended up interfering with the commentary, so India decided to turn it off. Yeah, the Matt Mask match, I think they turned them off during that match. Maybe they just forgot to turn them back on again after that. I don't know. Yeah, indeed. Just don't spam. You can talk about whatever you want. I don't care at all that you're religious. You can be as religious as you want. Yeah, I don't care about that. Just keep it clean. Keep it, well, you don't even have to keep it clean, but just keep it away from spamming or like talking about how people will burn and all that stuff. Kingsblue Social Club says, true, yeah, I mute events for that reason. I'd rather listen Arm Historian and hang out. Well, that's good, man. That's usually what I prefer too. I don't pay a lot of attention to the commentary necessarily, because I usually watch with friends, or like in yesterday's case with the rest of chat. There wasn't a multiple cam option. They did have multiple cams, of course, themselves, but I don't think there was an option for us to switch between while watching. Top King says, my wrists bleed after arm wrestling practice. Interesting. That's... is that like a stigmata kind of thing, or? Weird. Craig H says, the lack of camera angles always baffles me. I swear, this should be easy in 2025. Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. I think for the most part they did a pretty good job with it, just from an aesthetic point of view. But yeah, they could do it a couple more just to get some iffy calls out of the way. Chuck says, I still miss people behind the scene, like during Devon versus Levant 2 and Devon versus Dennis gives that extra adrenaline to the matches. Yeah, I think that's a very good point, Chuck. I think in a couple of the previous events they tried it with putting VIP members and other audience members behind the athletes during the matches. And I think I agree, it added kind of a lot to it. But also, on this kind of stage, it would have been difficult, I think. But I do agree, for sure. Hey, the Lucky One podcast, how you doing? Good to see you. Definitely check that channel out if you're at all interested in female arm wrestling. I might hit you up, the Lucky Ones podcast, about a video idea I'm kind of working on. That you can maybe help me out with a little if you're so inclined. Kingsmove Social Club says, who would win in a match, Jesus or Buddha? I don't know, probably Buddha. I think Buddha has the weight on Jesus. But then I think Jesus has like some supernatural powers, right? So, and Buddha doesn't. So, I don't know. That's a tough one, actually. The question, I think the key question you have to ask yourself is, are any of the powers Jesus has relevant in an arm wrestling match? And if yes, then probably you'd have to give the edge to Jesus, I think. But yeah. That's just my opinion. Top Proking says, yeah, camera angles were good only on King of the Table. Yeah, King of the Table did a lot of things good, but then a couple of other things were a little weird. Like their audience always kind of weirded me out. It seemed like those people in the audience at King of the Table weren't really there for arm wrestling most of the time. Awesome, thanks, the lucky ones. So yeah, this match, good match. Valen Low showed to everyone that he definitely deserved to be there. Let's see here. I think... I'm not quite sure on the next match, but I'll just do the Craig Tullier versus John Therrien, right? Yeah. So Craig Tullier versus John Therrien. John Therrien, the up-and-comer from Canada. And Craig Tullier, of course, kind of a legendary arm wrestler from the US. I believe this match was relatively close in the sense that John Therrien wasn't without a chance. Like at a certain point, you see they had to Craig Tullier had to fight for it. But yeah, I do believe, if I remember correctly, Craig took the win home at the end of the day. Stigmata puller always slips. Yeah, that's a good benefit indeed. Always lubricated. Kingsmove says, yeah, I was thinking that too. Forgot to turn Matt back on. Yeah, might have happened indeed. You alluded to it in the chat yesterday. Chuck says, for me it looked like they didn't know mics was off. There were still on athletes as long as I remember, and there were a few times when you could hear someone talking, like one mic was turned on in the back. Yeah, that's true too. Even during the... what a funny moment. During one of the commercial breaks, they had this commercial about, I think, coffee, Gold Star coffee or something like that. And you could hear someone, I couldn't really make out who, but you could hear someone talking to the crowd in the meanwhile during the commercials. Mr. Peanut says, egg, bacon, sausage, and spam. Spam, bacon, sausage, and spam. If you must spam, play the spam song. That's not bad at all, Mr. Peanut. Carry on there. Chuck says, backstage, I think I could hear Minda talking about something and later someone talking about technicalities. Interesting. Yeah, go ahead and make it. Todd Proking says Baxter would love to promote arm wrestling match between Jesus and Buddha. Yeah, true. He can do it as the main event after Trump and Putin. Or what was the match again he wanted to put on? I forgot. The Lucky Ones podcast says, unless it's the rise and fall of the Lucky Ones episode, then I'll have to think about it. No, it definitely is not that. When you do... Sorry, if you do ever fall, I'll think about making one on that. But no, it's not that. You're safe for the time being. Thanks, Muscle Bike. I appreciate it, man. Mr. Peanut says, if two deities like Jesus embody arm wrestling, do we owe them 10% each of our gross wages or just 10% total? Winner takes the collect plates. Sometimes I love arm wrestler memes, like memes created by the arm wrestling community. There's been so many good ones. But yeah, good match all in all. Like, I think, if we're being honest, up till now, the quality of matches has been pretty high, right? At least in my memory, I wasn't really disappointed outright with any of the matches so far. Let's talk about this one. Mindaugas versus Hunter Noffz on the left arm in the 77 kilogram category. This one was very one-sided. Mindaugas dominated Hunter Noffz in more than one way and kind of ridiculed him while doing so. saying, like mimicking to the audience how easy it was to pin him after or in between each round. So yeah, this was a very one-sided thing, very one-sided affair. Mindaugas absolutely dominated Hunter Noffz here. Unfortunate. Like, I think about that sometimes, and when you see wins like this, it doesn't always mean that they're that much removed from each other strength-wise in the sport of arm wrestling. At least that's the impression I get. It might only be a relatively small margin, but it just looks very dominant, because if you can't get a hold anywhere, and you can't even get to an angle where you can apply any amount of force in the first place, then it just looks like you're super weak compared to your opponent in every angle, while that might not be necessarily the case. Craig H says a rise and fall video during the peak of someone's career would be hilarious. Yeah, it would be, and maybe it would get a ton of views and interaction just because it's kind of rage baity, right? I did, like I announced yesterday during the live stream, I am planning on eventually making a John Brzenk series, like a 4 or 5 part series about John Brzenk's entire career, now that he's once again decided to retire. But yeah, I don't know how quick those will be out, because got a ton of ideas in the works. There's the iceberg video that I really want to get out, and I also have to further plan the all-time prime fantasy league during the live streams, and then I also have to plan my Philippines trip, or like the arm wrestling related things to my Philippines trip. Yeah, see what kind of content I can make over there. Bloat 90 says Craig was too old and hard indeed. Craig Tullier did really well. The matches were great, audio was shitty. Yeah, that seems pretty apt, seems pretty correct. Chuck says, I thought Hunter will do more, but it looks Noffz is not ready technically, and strength-wise probably too. Yeah, it did look like that for sure. Mind Parasitis is his new name. I like that one. I think he would too. Hunter vs Mindaugas showed the elite level Mindaugas and Janis are on. True. And let's move on to that match while we're talking about it. It's a good segue to actually going to that match. Okay, so I remember... Did Mindaugas win this match in the end? He did, right? It was close, 3-2, I know that for sure. It seemed to be a buckle-dominated match to a certain degree, but then in the end I think Mindaugas took it, right? Or did Janis win over Mindaugas? I think Mindaugas won, if I'm... It's just that I can't remember all the matches, man. Yes, Minda won. Okay, yeah, okay. I was busy with chat during all this. I was doing a live stream during the matches, so forgive me here, chat. But indeed, Mindaugas won in the end, 3-2, if I'm not mistaken. A very close match, very good match. Buckle dominated until the last round, it seemed to me. I was predicting Janis to win because of that, but that didn't end up happening in the end, so yeah. Mindaugas kind of living up to the hype. Mr. Peanut says, show suggestion how to raise funds for females in arm wrestling. Interesting. What do you suggest, Mr. Peanut? King's Move Social Club says, I know how women could make more money in arm wrestling, but it's kind of sexist. The Lucky Ones podcast touched on that subject last night. So maybe, I don't know if that's in the form of a video or a live stream, but you can go check that out after this live stream, if you're so inclined. Female pots ain't even a fourth of the male pots, and that's sad. Yeah, that's sad. Musclebike says, Arm Historian, yes, a video about females in arm wrestling would be really cool. I know you've included women, of course, but to make one for the ladies would be epic. Yeah, I agree. I need to do more on female arm wrestling. Yeah, for sure. I've touched on it, like you said, I've touched on it a couple of times on some female arm wrestlers, but I could do a lot more. Totroking says, Mindaugas has a lot of eggs to pull 2 matches at the same event. At least 10. Yeah. You're right. Very brave to do that. Same goes for Hunter Noffz for sure. Chuck says, arm historian about the iceberg. I didn't touch it too, man. I feel overwhelmed lately. Hopefully in some time I can get more will to help you, as you're pumping great videos one after another, my man. I do appreciate it, Chuck, of course, your help. And it's good to hear that, yeah, we've both been kind of MIA on that front. But yeah, the last videos I made were kind of spur of the moment videos. Just ideas I had, and then decided to, okay, I can pump these out, but I can create these in like a week or 2 weeks or something. Relatively fast. But they're not doing that well, so yeah. I should just get back to my bread and butter, I think. I don't think the YouTube algorithm rewards a lot of experimentation in that way. Chuck said, yep, Minda won. I feel he got saved by elbow foul in last round. Yeah, there were a lot of professional fouls there, right? Arm wrestling fan says, I made fine art of this match right after it was over while watching Sarah and Jocelyne's match. Let's take a look at that match now that you mention it. Missed last night, East vs West made for a long day. Yes, indeed, Mr. Peanut. But that's totally fine. I live streamed the entire event, during the entire event. Yeah, never before have I live streamed that long. But it was fun, for the most part. Very tiring, but fun. I had a friend, Robert, who's in chat, was also with me. Also known as Baby Arm now, apparently. So I had a good time. Arm wrestling fans says, knew it was going to be the best one on the card. Yeah, it was a very close match and a very good one indeed. Kingswood Social Club says, I'm Johnny Rotten in Discord. I'm always down to help too. Awesome, Kingswood Social Club. Are you still creating your own content? I might have missed your answer to that before. The Lucky One says, no worries, and yes, I was watching East vs West in sections. Chuck says, Jocelyne is our next #1 contender. Well, she might just be. This match was like a revelation to Jocelyne for me, because I had seen the Sarah-Jocelyne match before, several months ago now. But, yeah, it's pretty clear to me that Jocelyne maybe could eventually beat Barbora, or at least has the potential. Because what she did to Sarah, I don't know, maybe Sarah was just in very bad shape, but what she did to Sarah was like total domination. And for a novice arm wrestler, someone who's only been taking the sport seriously for like half a year or something now, that's crazy. That's a crazy result in a crazy dominant fashion. So, yeah, Jocelyne, someone to keep your eye on, to potentially have a shot at the title in, I don't know how long, but it might be relatively soon. Which is crazy to say, right? Because people are touting like a Barbora as the Levan of female arm wrestling, and it'll take a decade for her to be overthrown. We might not have to wait that long. I might be overhyping it here, or kind of recency bias, but I think if she trains a lot, damn. A lot of potential there, and very excited for like the female arm wrestling scene, because you can just line up her opponents, right? Like she said herself, Egley, next opponent, Gabby after that. Maybe moving on to Barbora after that. Like if she imagine if she dominates Egley and Gabby the same way that she did Barbora. It's hard to imagine. I don't think that'll happen. But imagine if she did that. Not Barbora, but Sarah. Imagine if she dominated Egley and Gabby the same way as she dominated Sarah. Would be crazy. Now, that being said, I don't think... if you put her in a match versus Gabby, I think Gabby might still be the favorite there. Right now. In my opinion, I think even though she was very dominant versus Sarah and had way too much power for Sarah, I think versus Gabby, she might still have a hard time. In my opinion. But she has all the potential to grow. She's only just started with the sport. If she focuses on the sport, I think her technical abilities will grow exponentially. Hey Roy, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Verbear, aka Baby Arm, in the house. Arm wrestling fan says, "Why is my cat trying to climb the wall?" Help. Mine doesn't do stuff like that. He does puke sometimes, which is less than fun. But he doesn't climb the... He only has 3 legs, so maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe his wall climbing days are behind him. Chuck says, "I hope there's another woman who can give Barbora a fight." Yeah, me too, man. And I might just be Jocelyne in a couple of years. The Lucky One says, "I'm very happy for Jocelyne. They are so very strong and good for the sport, especially on the lady side." Indeed, the Lucky Ones, indeed. Yeah, you told me about that before, Kingsmouth Social Club. Any progress on that? I'd love to see some stills or something. Or some work in progress, if you ever feel like showing it. Chuck says, "Yep, I see it too, and women's arm wrestling is great too, indeed." Egley Jocelyne next, yep, would be a good match, for sure. She wants Egley next, no reason to rush her to Barbora, for sure. Barbosa is the Levan for female, says King's Move. Arm wrestling fan says, "I would so love Sarah versus Fia. Egley versus Gabby rematch, and Jocelyne versus Barbora in the future would be awesome indeed." Chuck says, "I feel like women actually deliver more interesting matches in average than men." Yeah, might be the case. Because there is some power differential. It also makes sense that the power difference between women is often going to be smaller than in men's matches. Relatively smaller, not necessarily small, but smaller, which could mean that the matches are generally closer, so it does make sense. Jocelyne versus Gabby, also awesome, yep. Is she joining Worlds, Roy? Is Jocelyne going to Worlds, to WAF? That would be crazy brave, but a really good move, I think, on her part. She would do that. Gabby and Barbora both times was amazing indeed. But yeah, this match, 3-0, Jocelyne, not really a lot more I can say about it. Total domination. Total unexpected domination, in my opinion. Hey, White Wolf in the house. How you doing, White Wolf? Says the biggest arm wrestling event in North America happened the week prior. And crickets. I guess that depends on your definition of biggest. But yeah, I do agree that the word on it is yeah, there should be more coverage of it. I do definitely agree. Also from my end, I'm also guilty of that. But to be fair, I don't really cover a lot of contemporary things, only like East versus West and King of the Table, because the biggest names are pulling there. I don't really have a lot of time to cover the nitty-gritty of the arm wrestling world or become a news channel. Top Talking says, doesn't Sarah allegedly is in great shape for this match? Yeah, but then again, like, aren't all athletes allegedly always in their best shape? I think that's like it's a trope by now, right? It's almost become a meme by now. That's always what arm wrestlers say if they're asked, like, "Are you in shape? What kind of a shape are you?" The best I've ever been in. I think I increased my total shape by at least 3%. You're just sitting there like, okay. Arm wrestler and mathematician. Next match. Let's see, which one didn't we cover yet? Are there any here that we didn't cover? No, I think we got all the early ones. Yeah, let's move on to Matt Mask versus Kydyrgali. Another one of... Like, I think it mirrors very much the Jocelyne-Sarah match in... Not necessarily 100% in domination, although Matt Mask did dominate Kydyrgali, make no mistake about that. But in the fact that people came into this match maybe thinking Kydyrgali would win. Just like in the last match, people maybe came into it thinking Sarah would win. But then, yeah, the actual match, the opposite happened. Just like here, where Kydyrgali ended up losing 3-0, I believe, to Matt Mask. So yeah, unfortunate for Kydyrgali. It looked very clear to me that he wasn't back in 100% shape yet, like he was before. Might still be dealing with an injury or like the rehabilitation process after surgery. I believe he did get surgery, right? So, but that Mask looked absolutely dominant, really great, really snappy, fast off the go, hitting hard. Yeah, awesome. Awesome to see Matt Mask in a shape like this. Matt Mask, one of those people you can't help but love, right? Always, always great when you see him on the table. Kingsmove Social Club says, Arm Historian, I'm writing and storyboarding right now. It's kind of difficult to create arm wrestling plots. Marcus Thompson says, sarcastically, I think, thanks for the coverage. Arm Gods Independence Cup, a historic event. You should change your name. Absolute joke, mate. It's very unfortunate that you feel that way, Marcus Thompson. You know that my videos take a long time to make, right? And you know that my time is limited. I'd be happy to have made something for you on the event, but like, there's 100 events I don't cover. You realize that, right? Like, could have sent me a message asking, like, could you cover this event? Maybe you like covering it. Didn't do that either, so kind of unfair there, Marcus, I think. Kingsmove Social Club says, I've never seen Sarah in bad shape. Yeah, she always looks good physically, right? I agree. Chuck says, last time Egley felt not interested in arm wrestling, really. Yeah. That kind of looked like it, right? When she answered in interviews and stuff, she didn't really seem that into it. Roy says, yes, Jocelyne on Engen Live said she will be at WAF Worlds. Awesome. Awesome. Hope I'll get to see her there. Marcus Thompson says, not sarcastic, you're a puppet for East versus West. Shouldn't have to. I think we're all beholden to them in a certain degree, but I don't think I'm a puppet for East versus West. I just made an entire video bashing on some of their sponsors, so I think that's also a bit unfair, Marcus Thompson. East versus West and myself haven't seen eye to eye on a lot of things, although I don't really have issues with them right now, but yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like... Yeah, I'm not gonna get too deep into it. I think a lot of people could have done more for Arm Gods, and I definitely agree there. That being said, like, who reached out to me? I think White Wolf sent me one message about Arm Gods. Who else reached out to me of the organization to promote your event? You're blaming me for not staying 100% up to date on every single event. And I don't think that's really fair. In my opinion. I don't think you calling me a puppet for East vs West is fair either, because, like, East vs West isn't paying me anything. East vs West has no hold on my content. I've made content that flied in the face of East vs West. So I don't really know where that's coming from, but okay. Thanks Muscle Bike and Verbeer for dealing with the Supreme Arm there. Arm Wrestling Fan says, I thought Marcus supported everyone. Yeah, I like Marcus. I think he's a good guy. I just think he's not being entirely fair towards me in his messages here. I understand you're frustrated, but I don't think directing it at me is necessarily the right way to deal with it. Top Throw King says Georgi was in bad shape with fucked up foot. Morozov was in a bad shape when his stomach failed. Jerry when he had ammonia. John when he pulled Kanai. Devon when he pulled Camille, etc. Indeed, people are in, like they have something going on in their lives, either personally or physically, in every single match. So you can always make a ton of excuses, but yeah. Okay, next match. Cody Merritt versus Evgeny Prudnik. Prudnik ended up winning this match, although at times it did seem rather close. Yeah, it looked to be really close. Cody Merritt definitely wasn't out of it during the entire match. Although, yeah, Prudnik did end up going through there in the end. A hand puppet more like. That's true though. Musclebike agreeing there with Marcus. Top Throw King says Daddy I can't sit. He doesn't want to cut anymore. Yeah, I understand. I understand. Hey Dan John, catch you next time, man. Catch you next week or any of the next times. Latrousseau says you have no obligation to nobody, Mr. Arm. I feel that way. I feel like I'm not obligated to do any kind of content unless people pay me for it. If people actually pay me, then of course I would make content, as long as I agree with the content. Then I would make that, then I would put time into it. But other than that, I don't see, like, my time is limited and I have to choose my topics carefully. Yeah. I don't promote any event, like, explicitly. I don't get paid to promote any event explicitly. If I did, I would promote it, of course. And if you really want me to promote something, contact me. Like, reach out to me and tell me, like, I'm putting this event on, I think it's great because of this and this, and I would love it if you made a video on us. I can't necessarily pay for it, but I would love it if you did. And if I think there's value in that video, I would make it. Like, it's as simple as that. I'm not more complicated than that. I don't care about behind the scenes politics between events, or who's banning who, or who's talking shit behind who, who's talking shit about whoever. I don't care about all that shit. It's really simple. Come to me, act like a normal dude, ask me for something, and I can say yes or no. Like, there's nothing more to it for me. I understand that people can be frustrated because they believe their event deserves more coverage. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm not a mouthpiece for an event. You know what I mean? If an event wants me as their mouthpiece, then put me on their payroll. Does that make sense? I think it does, right? Tomer says Marcus Thompson, this channel needs to make views, otherwise it's a waste if no one watches it. Armgods has 100% less subs than East vs West. Small league and East vs West should always go first. And while that is true, that doesn't even, like, to me, that doesn't even play into my decision on making a video, because I make videos on topics that don't always do well, and that I know beforehand won't always do well, or will brush people the wrong way, you know what I mean? I have a great deal of respect for Marcus Thompson and Armgods and the event. I believe I had a good relationship with them. I think what they're doing is trying to be different than other events, and I can only applaud them for that. But, like, don't blame me for for this. Don't vent your frustrations to me in this way. I think you're barking up the wrong tree. Yeah, they tried something new with the AI videos too. I talked about them, like I talk about them almost every live stream I do. I mention arm gods. It's not like I'm totally oblivious or don't want to talk about the event. It's just I don't have the time. I can't find the time to do it and make other videos too. Okay, enough about that. Evgeny Prudnik ended up winning versus Cody Merritt. All in all, pretty good match. I don't think a lot of people were really surprised about the result, although Cody Merritt did make him work for it a lot. Latrusos's match went as expected. Yeah, in a way it did, for sure. The world's fastest sport happens in my bedroom, says King's Move Social Club. You don't need to... This is not a call to get angry at arm gods or something. Like, this is a call to... I don't need all this politics. If someone wanted something from me, they should have sent me a message directly. That's what I'm saying. And the fact that anyone would hold it against me when they didn't even reach out to me, I don't get that. I don't get that. Hey, Musclebike, catch you next time, man. Gotta write those feelings. Craig H says many people strive to compete in East versus West, so it's definitely worth covering. It's just... yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. Name not needed says, if I wanted you to cover my event, I'd invite you to it and pay for your travel, lodging and time. And that's exactly what Arm Gods did with their Ireland event. And I spent hours upon hours making a video for them. Yeah, and I covered it in live streams afterwards. I talked about it a lot. I promoted the event a lot. Yeah. So yeah, that's what they did last time. No, it's just Arm Wrestling Fan. It's just because, and I might be a little emotional about it, but that's mainly because I've made a lot of friends in like the Arm God circles. So it sucks that something like this would, like me not promoting one of their events, would lead to like a falling out with people I genuinely consider my friends. Gian says crazy when Cody took Prudnik's hand though. Yeah, Cody's hand obviously very strong, and I think, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe if Cody would do more conditioning or more strength training, because I don't think he does a lot of that, maybe he would do really well in yeah, maybe he would do really well there. It's interesting that it says, oh yeah, it's 115 plus. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I really hope that Cody would take one round. Yeah, it would have been great. It kind of looked like he would, right, at a certain point. Kind of looked like he would. White Wolf says, I agree with Marcus. I also thought you were the ARM historian, not just East vs West and COD coverage ARM Gods did. Are you guys hearing what I'm saying, or just like what I said didn't make sense or doesn't play into this? So if you're using that rationale, White Wolf, you're asking every channel, mine included, to become basically an Arm Wrestling news channel and cover every event, right? If you're using the criteria that I'm an East versus West chill, a mouthpiece for East versus West, then you're not only saying I should be covering ARM gods, but I should also be covering every single event under the sun, right? Yeah, White Wolf, you did ask me for that. You sent me a message about that. And you expected me to do it beforehand? Or, I don't know, you don't work for ARM gods either, I don't think? Like, why couldn't Marcus or anyone in the ARM gods organization reach out to me and said they wanted me to do something for that? I don't know. I don't know, I wouldn't even have minded, like... Imagine if Marcus would have reached out to me privately and said, ARM Historian, and I'm really disappointed in you not making anything about our event. What do you think my reaction would have been in private? Probably I would have said, I'm so sorry, I wish you would have reached out earlier, let me see what I can do now. To still send as many people as I can to your event, to your future events, or to the videos you'll be uploading from this event. Wouldn't that have been a way better outcome than in my public chat starting to say how disappointed you are in me for not making a video about your event when they didn't even ask me to? His new social club says arm wrestling echo chamber. Danjon, I'm sorry, man, that I disappointed you with that. I don't get it, man, seriously. I'm kind of at a loss for words on this subject. Like, it seems like every person from that's like affiliated with ARM gods or knows people in ARM gods got this memo of like, let's all be disappointed in ARM Historian. And none of those people reached out to me, apart from one, White Wolf, reached out to me even once to make something. None of those people tagged me even once in any of their messages, in any of their own promotions. So it seems kinda out of pocket. Arm wrestling fan says lol, so why didn't you pay the guy? Would have been easy. You didn't even have to pay me, just reach out, I would have probably done it. But yeah, that would have been very easy to do so. Latrousseau says, turns out all this time it was Engin's arm talking. No worries. Homer says this is called Arm Historian, not Arm Wrestling News. If they want coverage, go to Pradeep. Yeah. Whatever, man. I think I said everything I have to say on it. I encourage people to think for themselves and like kind of take what I say as like no bad intentions. Very strange. Yeah, just reach out to me in private, man. Why do this like in my live chat? So weird. Like there's... I could say bad things, I could talk to about certain things, but I don't do this shit like in public. I don't air my grievances in public like that. Very strange. Okay, next one. Dave Chaffee versus Georgi Tsvetkov. One of the heavyweight matches. Dave Chaffee unfortunately didn't come out on top. Georgi Tsvetkov did end up taking the win here. I would have expected... I expected more from Dave in a way. He put up a fight, don't get me wrong, he put up a fight and the power is definitely still there. But yeah, he just can't close it out, man. It seems like Dave truly is the gatekeeper kind of the elite super heavyweight division. If you can beat Dave, you can be pretty sure that you can do well in the top 10. I think is the lesson to learn here. Harium Notopro says we get GTA 6 before Angry Arm Historian. Yeah, man, it takes a lot to get me angry, I think. And I'm not angry now, but it does take a lot to get me angry. Arm Wrestling fan says, all I know about Arm Gods is promoter talking dramatic shit and banning Aussie or something. I try so hard to stay away from all this behind the scenes politics bullshit. I hate it so much. Craig H says, you guys are sounding egotistical. This is Arm Historian's channel, he can cover whoever. There will be plenty of fans who love his content. I appreciate it, Craig H. Lucky One's podcast says, this one surprised me. You thought Dave would take it here? I didn't know what to expect, really. Dave looked so confident and good before the match, so... yeah. Unfortunate, because I really wanted him to do well too. Tomer kind of reiterates here the same thing. Surprising how downhill he's gone in even the last 2 years. Dave is still strong, but he's only got one lane. It does kind of still feel like that sometimes. Although Georgie's hand is so good, man. You could see he had hand control really quickly. I appreciate you, Kingsmove Social Club. Thanks, man. It's the main reason why it gets to me a little bit, and that's the last thing I'll say about it, is because I've made a lot of friends there, and for people to like quote unquote all of a sudden turn on me and be disappointed in me because of something I apparently did that I wasn't even aware of. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it does feel that way a little, White Wolf. Very strange. Very strange. Latrousseau says, I really wanted to believe in Dave, but I had Georgi. Especially after he said he's working on side pressure and press. Yeah, I get you. Georgi, I think a lot of people had Georgi as the favorite coming into the match. Brian is planning to beat Dave. It's set on his whiteboard in his gym. Interesting, okay. So that's like Brian Shaw's first big goal. Might be the case, Arm Wrestling fan. Might be the case. Yeah, that's also true, Latrousseau. Everyone else is leveling up really quickly. We can only hope, Craig. Would be awesome to see him go on a big winning streak. Dave versus Alex Kurdecha, yeah. Didn't that match already happen not that long ago? Didn't Alex lose to Dave? Tomer says, has anyone heard about Zauer? I'd love to see him again. He hasn't even showed up in any true power videos. Yeah, that's true. He's kind of fallen off the radar completely. Didn't he have an injury? A pretty serious injury not that long ago? Hey, the Drew, how you doing, man? Good to see you. I thought it wasn't bad, Hariam no top roll. I think it was okay. Yeah, the gap between Levan and the others is closing fast. Might be the case. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but might be the case. Okay. Almost at the last match. But first, Devon versus Corey. I think most people will be aware of how this match turned out. Excuse me. I think most people will be aware how this match turned out. Corey tried really hard and it looked like Devon was struggling a little during the first round. But yeah, Devon just dominated kind of. 3-0 to Devon. Not a lot more to say about it in obvious Devon fashion. I do believe we didn't have the mics of the athletes turned on for this match either, so maybe I'm wrong on that, but I couldn't hear a lot of what Devon was saying. Maybe I just forgot it. Ah, interesting, okay. Bicep tear, but that was like 2 years ago on Zauer. Okay. So yeah, not a lot more to say about this match. Finally, John Brzenk versus Yoshinobu Kanai. a good match in the sense that it's a match we've all been waiting for, but not in the sense of it was very highly contested. I think Yoshi is a very generous man, and that's my takeaway of this match. I think Yoshi gave John Brzenk some leeway, let him work a little bit. Still took the match 3-0 in the end. Yoshi did. But I do think he gave John Brzenk a little to work with, seeing as it's quite possibly John Brzenk's very last match. But yeah, I think he was very gracious to him and he let him work. So I wasn't disappointed with the match necessarily. I wish it was closer, of course. But yeah, it is what it is, right? Yeah, Sylvester, we did talk about Matt Mask and how strong he looked, and that maybe Kydyrgali wasn't entirely healed yet. Matt and Devon's matches were muted. I saw quite a few people complaining about the production. Yep. They were muted. Maybe it's for the swearing, but they might have just done it because it sometimes interfered with the commentators. It was a heartbreaking match, as Latrusso. Who would you have had as John's last match? That's a tough one. Might have been better to set him up with Kydyrgali and have Yoshi face Matt Mask. Might have been better matches, I don't know. Yoshi proved that John isn't healthy in a very respectful manner. Yeah, in a very respectful manner indeed. Very true. Dover says, I'd love to see Matt in the super heavyweight class. I think he could beat Gennady, like was rumored he could back in 2018. Yeah. Let me quickly look something up here, guys. Like, I'll say this in a summary of the event. I think pretty good event. Could have done a lot of things better, obviously. But that's always going to be the case with any event. There's always room for improvement. I don't think any event is perfect. I really liked the venue. I think the lighting was all in all good. Yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. Most matches, like it's weird to say, but a lot of the earlier matches were some of the better matches. So yeah, I think most matches didn't disappoint. Some even surprised me in a very positive way. So yeah, there you go. Is Yoshi gonna continue pulling, says Latrus? So I think he is, right? I think he kind of has to at this point. At least I hope he is. I really hope he is. Sylvester says, I was pissed that I couldn't hear Matt super tired, but the production quality was way better, Imo. Yes, I think in general, indeed, the production quality was quite good, but I was unfortunate that we couldn't hear the athletes talking, or at least some of the athletes. Janis versus Mindy was the best one, as expected. Yeah, that one didn't disappoint. I totally agree. Yep, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the event. I think they did a pretty good job, and the new direction they're taking it in, at least from an aesthetic standpoint, is one that I can appreciate. They also made like some small adjustments, like athletes moving in their title cards, kind of, which yeah, good to see stuff like that. Good to see that they're trying new things. The main event of the next one is MMT Vitali. That's crazy. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Looking forward to that one for sure. Yep, other than that, I think that'll about do it for today, guys. You can find me on Instagram, Discord, even on Facebook. You can hit me up and send me a message if you so desire, or check out some exclusive content to those things. Other than that, I'll be back same time, same place for another live stream next Sunday. And hopefully keep your eyes peeled for a video that will be releasing next week. Until then, hope to see you again, guys. Bye-bye.